All right, let's go to Lindsay Regis now. As I mentioned, she is there. You're on the ground, Lindsay.
Yeah, John and Ellen, I am right outside the executive terminal. We're going to keep the camera on Air Force 2 that just landed coming in from the east. They are going, unfortunately, right behind those buses, so it will be a little difficult to see who comes out of the plane. Now we know Vice President J.D. Vance, he landed in Salt Lake City earlier today to meet and pay his respects to Charlie Kirk's family. So we know him and the Second Lady will be on board Air Force 2 here with Kirk's casket. We believe Kirk's wife, Erica, and 2 kids will also be on the plane. You can see it just passing by those buses. Vance posted a lengthy, heartfelt message on X about the impact Kirk had on him, calling him a true friend and one of the first people he called when he thought about running for Senate in early 2021. Vice President J.D. Vance appeared at an event last fall in Mesa put on by Charlie Kirk's Turning Point Action. Before Kirk's death, Vance wrote on social media, "Say a prayer for Charlie Kirk, a genuinely good guy and a young father." So right now you can see Air Force 2 just landed here and stopped in Phoenix.
Yeah. Lindsay, I know that you're kind of a distance away. You're not able to go on the tarmac for this arrival. Have you spotted anyone who has showed up to also welcome Charlie Kirk back home?
So there is a large crowd here. It's over to our left side. We're going to keep our camera on Air Force 2, but we have another photographer here, Rick, who recently had his camera on the crowd. I would say there's about 300 people right across the street from me. They all have their phones out. They have flags up along the fence. They're all waiting to see Charlie Kirk's casket, get video. We spoke with a few of them earlier today. It's very emotional out here. It's very quiet right now as Air Force 2 landed.
Yeah, I think it's likely, it's hard to say how they'll do this. The casket may come out of the rear of the plane. Not sure how they're going to do this. But this has got to be very emotional for these people because they're very, very close. Some of the people involved in the inner circle of the Trump administration, very close personally to Charlie Kirk, and they credit him, of course, with rallying and galvanizing a young vote for the Republican Party that turned out in 2024. So there are deep ties outside of the administration itself. Probably no singular person is closer to that administration or was than Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and you know, too, John, after we got news that he had died, I mean, people started showing up immediately to the Turning Point headquarters, and then last night, random vigils popped up all around the valley. We had one in Gilbert, we had one also at the Turning Point headquarters, and then we had another one as well. So, I mean, it's really has affected people all across the valley that we have seen. All right, so folks are getting off the plane now here. Looks like Secret Service first. Some members of J.D. Vance's personal team getting off right now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a press contingent on board as well. Sometimes the press would fly.
Especially in the second, some of the members of the press are getting off in the back.
I'll tell you one thing, Charlie Kirk, he packed a lot into 31 years. He was only 31 years old. He founded Turning Point USA in 2012. That's 13 years ago. He would have been in his early 20s when he founded Turning Point USA. He's written books. He's toured all over the country and around the world, speaking about conservative ideals and faith.
Yeah, and when actually just when this happened yesterday, he was just kicking off this comeback tour that he was calling it, called the American Comeback Tour, and he was planning to travel all around the country to different college campuses, and he was inviting liberal students to debate him and ask him questions, and that was what was happening. They were only about 20 minutes in when he was shot and killed, and that's what he was answering questions when that happened, and that was the plan. He was going to be touring, going across college campuses and doing what he does.
He's had hundreds of millions of views on social media for his interaction with college students, interacting, debating, getting different points of view and challenging those points of view. And even people who don't agree with Charlie Kirk thought that that method of trying to get a message across by civil debate was very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of what his philosophy was, right? I mean, he would say, I'm going to debate you, and I'm going to back it up with facts, and you're not going to necessarily agree with me, but I'm going to tell you what I feel.
Exactly.
That was kind of his philosophy.
Charlie Kirk was born in Chicago, raised in Arlington Heights, and he was a college dropout. He left college, attended Harper College, and then dropped out to pursue political activism full-time in his early teens, and then starts developing this idea to create a political entity full-time after working on a Senate campaign. He'd been very politically active, and as a guy who did not attend college, very well read, very well versed on the Bible and Scripture.
And he did feel like the turning point, he felt like there was a lack of conservative values, conservative teachings on college campuses.
Yes.
And that was kind of how Turning Point came about, essentially. And then it kind of just started to grow from there.
It did. It started with two people, he and the co-founder. And it was really a reaction to Act Blue, which was the liberal organization that had so much traction, raised so much money, galvanized people to vote for Democratic candidates. So Charlie Kirk saw what he thought was a void in trying to recruit young people to the Republican Party and formed Turning Point USA and then headquartered it here.
Mm-hmm. And so I was just kind of reading a little bit about what happened yesterday, and actually there was a pastor who he had spoken with just hours before he was killed, and the pastor kind of recalled some of the last moments with Charlie, just literally talking to him on the phone, and he said that they had talked about their faith before this happened, and this pastor was just absolutely stunned. Pastor Jack Hibbs was a close friend of Charlie Kirk, and they had collaborated on different podcasts, and Charlie had spoken at this pastor's church a number of different times in Southern California. But this pastor was stunned, actually, and his brother, the pastor's brother, was at the event yesterday,
wow,
only about 20 feet away when this happened. So it certainly hit close when you're talking about his faith.
Yeah. He said it was the most important thing in his life and what he wanted to be remembered for. He was asked about this in a podcast. How do you want to be remembered? And he said, I want to be remembered for my unshakable faith. It was very important to him.
Yeah. His wife, Erica, so, you know, she obviously has very strong ties here to the Valley. She grew up here, went to school here, competed in pageants as well. And the two of them, Charlie and Erica, they got married in Scottsdale, and they were raising their two children here as well.
Yeah.
And so this was a very important place for them, not only for their professional life with Turning Point, but also their personal life, and they had chosen to continue to live here.
They were just married in 2021. I think they met in 2019 and were engaged to be married a year later and then married in 2021. This is going to be, for anyone, heartbreaking to watch that family.
And we do expect them to come off the front of the plane. So usually when an arrival happens on Air Force 2 or Air Force 1, which is what the commander-in-chief flies on, Air Force 1, the back of the plane is usually for staff, certainly for the press. So the first arrival, that back door that is open, that's what we just saw. That was the press coming off, some of the staffers coming off. And then the front door that opened, you're looking at the back door right now. The front door now, that's open. So the stairs have just moved over to the front door. That is where the vice president and his family would walk off, would walk down the stairs from, where Erica Kirk would walk down as well. But as we said, we're not really sure where the casket will be coming from. We don't know that yet.
You can't see these images, frankly, and not think about 1963 and the casket coming off of, at that point, Air Force One carrying the body of John Kennedy. They had trouble getting it out of the plane. They had to bring it out of that door that you're looking at, that similar rear door. And that memory, of course, is etched in everyone's mind. And it was heartbreaking to see a young family grieving at that point. And I think for folks who know Charlie Kirk, were close to him, and obviously those who supported him and felt that he made a difference, this is going to be a tough moment. And to see that young family, it's going to be very tough.
And if you are just joining us, we heard from Lindsay Regis, who is there right now, and she said about 200 to 300 people have showed up, and they're on the left there. And we're trying to see who's coming off the plane right now. We're not sure just yet. There's Erica Kirk, the blonde right there with the sunglasses coming off the plane. Behind her are the Vances right there. The second lady and the vice president behind.
Yeah, President Trump today said that she is just devastated by all this, and rightfully so. These kids will not know their father.
President Trump did say that he had heard that the funeral will likely happen in about a week or so, probably the next weekend.
And probably here.
And probably here is what he said. Again, just what he said today. Nothing is set in stone as far as the funeral goes just yet. And of course, when that does happen, when we hear anything, we'll pass that on to you.
Yeah, I think, you know, we talked about the horror of seeing this on social media. To see someone's life taken so violently on camera and seeing that, I think it shook a lot of people to see that image.
Yeah, and you know, it spread quickly, and it was not censored either.
No.
You know, and
this is the world we're living in.
And that's the world we're living in now, John. That is the world that we are living in.
I mean, it took years, literally, to finally the public to see the Zapruder film of John Kennedy's assassination. While not as graphic, this was equally violent yesterday, and we saw it within minutes.
Yeah, and you know, with wherever Charlie Kirk goes, honestly, where any person goes now, if they are speaking at an event, whether they are an activist, whether they are an elected official, everyone has a phone now. And everyone is recording. And so that is why we're seeing this video is out there. And it's unfortunate because the video is out there.
My sense is that maybe Charlie Kirk's casket is going to come out of that door.
They're trying to, it seems like they're trying to coordinate it right now.
Yeah. You know, and maybe Erica, it's hard to know, his wife did not want his casket placed in the cargo hold out of respect.
Correct.
To put him in the airplane and ride along with him on the way home. We will see if that's how this all unfolds. Yeah. You talked about the cameras, and this has materially changed these investigations now into whoever did this.
To try to find the person.
That investigation is ongoing. We're actually expecting a press conference sometime this evening. Kash Patel, the FBI director, Dan Bongino, assistant director, they're on their way to Utah. They're probably there now. So we don't know what's going to come out of that press conference, whether they have somebody in mind, they're ready to release a name, we don't know. But these cameras have you know, made much easier trying to track down somebody because you can't seem to avoid detection.
Right, and whether it was the cameras at the school that looks like that is kind of where these two photos have surfaced from, this person of interest that they're looking for wearing a t-shirt and a hat, or video cameras or cell phone cameras that have captured this person running from the scene.
Ring doorbell cameras.
Ring doorbell cameras, yeah. And then also there were surveillance cameras in a wooded area and also in a neighborhood nearby the school where family members have said, we think we got the guy running through our neighborhood. They also have video of that too. I mean, it's like wherever you go, you are going to be caught on video somewhere, typically. And then if you're at an event with thousands of people, everyone has a phone.
Yeah, I think we've got an honor guard here. I think Charlie Kirk's body casket will come out of that door shortly.
And we know that a number of the Turning Point team members are also on the plane here as well. So I'm wondering if they might be helping with the casket too, which
serving
that
almost as pallbearers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And you know, they were with the Turning Point team. You know, they were there. Let's see here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
this is the casket that's coming out. It's an honor guard.
Yeah.
Not the Turning Point members.
Draped in the American flag. Is it? I'm not sure.
No, it's not. No. That is Air Force, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
I could not see from our image if the flag was on that casket. That would be reserved primarily for elected leaders. Charlie Kirk was not. That's what made this a little different. Somebody who was not elected to high office, taken out in an assassination. That's what the FBI is calling it. That's what Utah officials are calling it. And somebody targeted who's not an elected official. I mean, we've seen it in American history, certainly. Martin Luther King certainly comes to mind.
Yeah, a political activist.
A political
a very
voice.
Outspoken
Yes.
Political activist. Yes. And, you know, we spoke with a former Secret Service agent who has protected President Trump, President Bush, actually the entire Bush family, and he talked about the difficulties of an open air environment protecting someone, and that goes for an elected official, let alone a non-elected official who has the Secret Service protection, because by law they do, and you know, Charlie Kirk did not. Now he had 6 police officers and he also had his security team, but he did not have Secret Service and whatnot because he was not an elected official.
Nobody there to sweep rooftops.
And then you also had just the difficulty of an outdoor venue of trying to manage that. And he talked about that. That was very, very difficult to keep an area like that secure.
Especially from 200 yards.
Right.
There was no one there to sweep that building.
No.
And not like you would have with Secret Service, even though Secret Service failed in Butler, Pennsylvania, in the attempt on President Trump's life. Nonetheless, you just would not think, I think most people would not think Charlie Kirk would necessarily be the target of this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it happened just over 24 hours ago when, you know, you got word that he had been shot, and then shortly after that he had died.
We're in the 5 o'clock hour now. Charlie Kirk is back home in Phoenix. We believe, at least the president has hinted, that he will have a funeral next weekend.
In the Phoenix area, correct, right. And
that President Trump will attend. So if that goes as planned, we will probably have a presidential visit in our future.
And we just witnessed, if you're just joining us, we just witnessed Erica Kirk, his wife, walk off Air Force 2. She was holding hands with Usha Vance, the second lady, and then Vice President J.D. Vance walking behind the 2 women off of the plane down the stairway. And then we know that about 200 to 300 people have showed up at Sky Harbor Airport to pay their respects to Charlie Kirk, to welcome him home here to Phoenix after the assassination in Utah.
Out of respect, I think, to her children's privacy, we did not see the children come off that airplane.
Right, yep. And we know that they have a 3-year-old daughter, a 1-year-old son. We've never known their names. We've never seen their faces on social media anyway, and the Kirks have been very open about keeping that private. They don't want to reveal the children's names or their faces on social media. They feel like it's something they want to keep close to them for security reasons.
Smart. Smart move.
Yeah. And I think, you know, so we don't know where the body is going now just yet. We haven't gotten official word what funeral home he will be taken to. That would be the next step, logical step anyway. And we have not been given that information. So that is something that we will, you know, hope to learn. But we just don't know. So, and there is the casket being lowered right now into, we assume that it will be lowered into a hearse.
Into a hearse, yeah.
Can we go to Lindsay Regius at all? Is Lindsay available to kind of give us some information about what's going on? Lindsay, is there a hearse there to take Charlie Kirk's casket somewhere? What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, John and Ellen, we saw a hearse hours ago. We expect that hearse to come out of the gates right in front of Air Force 2. Unfortunately, this bus is blocking where that hearse, we believe that hearse will come out of. But if my photographer pans to our left, you could see about 8 motorcycles ready to go. So we do believe they will come out this way. We have another photographer here, Rick, who will have another angle of that. And then a third photographer who will follow that hearse.
Lindsay, can we possibly swing the camera to the group of people who were there to welcome Charlie Kirk's body back home?
John, that's going to be a little difficult, but if we can take Rick's shot, we can show you what that looks like, because he's actually right next to them.
Yeah,
we have about 12. Okay, great. We have about 12 camera crews to our left, so that's all you would see if we turned our camera. But there is a large gathering here. They started gathering here, I would say, 3 hours ago. Everyone has their phones up. You can see flags here, and we spoke to them a few hours ago, and we'll speak to them again once the hearse passes. And we heard that sound earlier today in our newscast.
Lindsay, J.D. Vance helped join the group of uniformed service members to bring Charlie Kirk's body home. What is the sense out there? What's the emotion from the people there on the ground?
Sadness, quiet. That's how it's been all day, especially when Air Force 2 came down. You could hear a little bit of chatter, but right when it landed, just silence. People are heartbroken. We were at Turning Point USA, the headquarters, last night, crying, bringing their family members so many flowers, candles, balloons, so many people coming out to show their support. Can't believe this happened. A lot of ASU students also showed up there, and they came ever since the news broke. We were out there until around 10:15. People were still coming, dropping off those flowers and looking at the signs that were recently put up outside the headquarters.
Do we know where Charlie Kirk's wife is right now? Is she in a car that will carry the body?
I am going to assume that is what is going to happen in just a few minutes. I don't have eyes on her right now. Once she walked down the stairs, we really don't have any visibility. You see the gates, you see buses, and they're behind all of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that they obviously want to keep kind of, we actually heard too that there were some sweeps happening for security reasons at the Turning Point headquarters, just based on kind of what's been going on, kind of the temperature just happening right now across the country. And so you can see right there, you have buses, you have, you know, just security in general. So it, kind of no surprise there that they're keeping everybody back right now.
Yeah, I'm sure people are watching this, and there are people who say, why so much coverage and kind of the trappings of a head of state passing away. I think, you know, the sense is in the Republican world, Charlie Kirk was a huge force. And that's why there's so much attention on him and all of this, you know, riding on the vice president's plane
Right.
to bring him home.
Well, and the fact, too, that President Trump actually was the one to announce that he had died. I mean, he was the one that informed the country that he had died. It wasn't Turning Point. It wasn't the Kirk family. And, you know, you can see that President Trump had also ordered the flags to fly at half staff, too. I mean, you can see that that's what's happening right now. Republicans really respected him, and some even credit Charlie Kirk for helping President Trump get elected too.
I think there's no doubt about that. He
turned out the vote.
He
the
turned
young
out.
People
They
vote.
did. They turned out young people,
and especially young men.
And some people questioned, you know, Charlie Kirk's tactics, whether it was going to work. There were questions going into the 2024 election whether he was really going to be able to deliver, because they put a lot on him. And I think the conclusion was, and certainly within the White House, that he did. That he delivered voters.
Yeah, and a lot of it was done through social media, through podcasts, and, you know, a lot of people were saying, well, why aren't you knocking on doors? Why aren't you?
Yes.
And
this was a little bit unconventional.
It definitely was unconventional, and it worked. And it certainly worked in the last election, but that was where we really kind of heard the chatter of, why aren't you seeing, you know, these young people from Turning Point who have these big contracts right now with some of these candidates knocking on doors? And they were focused on podcasts. That's where they were reaching younger people, especially younger men, to get out and vote. And that was kind of their strategy. And it delivered victory. For
it's another reminder that the conventional wisdom is often wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
All we heard going into that election was the ground game, advantaged by the Democrats, and the Republicans were kind of running a different playbook.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Charlie Kirk was really responsible for that. That's why he is so highly regarded at this White House, because I think President Trump feels without him, he may not have won. So he felt that he owed Charlie Kirk a great debt of gratitude.
This is a pretty far shot. We are told that there is a hearse kind of in the middle, and that will obviously transport Charlie Kirk's body from Sky Harbor.
Yeah, is that the white? That's the white car in the middle.
Yep, it is right there. It's a white one, and so they will load the body, load the casket into the hearse, and then move on from Sky Harbor. And as soon as we learn, you know, details about the funeral, we will pass them on to you. You know, Turning Point was heavily connected with Dream City Church, and that is a mega church, you know, in the Phoenix area. And anytime a political candidate would come to town, they would typically speak at Dream City Church. And so, you know, we have actually reached out to Dream City Church to see if there might be, you know, a funeral or service there. We have not heard back yet.
I think that is likely, but we'll see.
Then they certainly would be able to hold a large crowd there.
Let's check back in with Lindsay Regis on the ground there. Lindsay, give us your sense.
Yes, John. We are still waiting for the hearse to move. I heard we did have eyes on it. Again, our view, it's kind of blocked. We can't see much right now, but we do see these motorcycles, about 8 of them, ready to go. And then we got a camera on, of course, everyone who is here. Phones have been up videoing this entire time right across the street from us, as people here wait to watch the hearse go by. Other than that, it is very quiet here, very quiet on the other end, as there are some flags that people are holding that are along the fence. Just a very emotional moment right now.
And you know, the memorial, it has only continued to grow at the Turning Point headquarters in Phoenix. We've seen that it started really soon after we got word that he had died, and then a large photo of Charlie Kirk went up at the Turning Point headquarters, and then people have been bringing flowers and all sorts of things throughout the day today, and it really is a pretty massive memorial now We do believe that there are a few other vigils happening tonight throughout the valley to honor Charlie Kirk, and I believe that we were going to send Lindsay to another one potentially later on tonight, but obviously this is kind of the focus right now of our coverage.
Let's bring you up to speed also as we await movement from the motorcade on the investigation into what happened yesterday in Utah. They are focusing on a man who appears to be college-aged, seen on campus. We don't know when that photo was taken. Dark clothes, glasses, a hat. They're looking for that person, a person they describe of interest. But now we are starting to get, evidence of what they believe is a murder weapon, which is a Mauser 30-06 with a scope, possibly with palm prints, fingerprints, handprints, and DNA on it.
And the FBI said they were able to obtain all of that.
Yes.
Obtain the foot, palm, forearm imprints linked to the crime. That's a lot.
There is a lot of evidence, yes.
A lot of it.
The question is, if he, which he did, he fled, and we know he got away at least temporarily. How far could he have gone in 24 hours? That's going to be the critical nature. But remember with Luigi Mangione, they thought that guy vanished, and they found him in a restaurant.
Yeah, it just takes one mistake, one eagle eye person, and there is a $100,000 reward right now. I believe that other people are offering other money as well on top of the $100,000 reward to find this person who is responsible. And we also we've talked about some of their surveillance video out there, not only at the university, but also cell phone video. We've seen cell phone video of the suspect running away on the roof as other people, right when Charlie Kirk was hit, that suspect ran away from the roof. Got off the roof, jumped off a portion of the roof to get out of there. Correct, and that was caught on cell phone video, and everyone else was ducking, running for cover. Completely different body language than everybody else in the crowd. So that has been caught on video too. They also have footprints heading into the woods. Correct, so. Yeah, in the wooded area. So, I mean, they have many, many clues right now. The interesting thing is they had two people that they had pulled in to question throughout the day, and they let those two people go. So those people have been let go. They really are zeroing in now on this one person who was wearing all pretty much black tactical kind of gear on the day of the shooting there. Yeah, and once you've got the weapon and you have DNA, that really starts to close the circle, because they can run genealogical DNA off of that and try to figure out who this is. You can track the gun. They can track the gun and the ammunition and a scope, all of that. There'll be a record of all of that. It was a bolt action, high-powered rifle, and they say they discovered it near the shooting scene, apparently in the woods. There was inscription on the ammunition that apparently was political in nature. That's been confirmed by the Wall Street Journal. May have mentioned transgender, may have mentioned fascism, etched onto the bullets, unfired, and the casing that was fired. Wall Street Journal confirmed that today. That came out in a communique from the investigators earlier this morning, and the Wall Street Journal confirmed that information. So that speaks to a political assassination. All right, the motorcade is taken off here. Police escorting. It is going to be a white hearse. There it is, right there, with the body of Charlie Kirk and the casket. Yeah, we do not know where it is headed. And we believe wife Erica is on board. The two children we did not see. They may be tended to by other members of the family right now. They're going to keep them out of the public eye, understandable. They've been very guarded in the privacy of those two children. And the other thing, too, that we also have to keep in mind for security reasons is they have to protect Vice President J.D. Vance. That's a great point. That is, I mean, they have to take, I mean, we got Secret Service in town right now. Yeah. So there might be some highways that are potentially shut down unless J.D. Vance just escorted the body and then he gets back on Air Force 2. We don't know. We're not really sure.
It's possible.
We don't know his movements right now.
Well, even planning a vice presidential visit.
Correct.
That's days and weeks of advance work.
Right.
This all happened within the span of the last 24 hours.
Right. And, you know, there are snipers up on the roof right now, so I'm not sure if J.D. Vance continued on or if he is still at the executive airport right now.
Yeah, he could.
The executive terminal.
We
right
don't
now.
know. We don't
Yeah.
know if he'll board Air Force 2 and head back to D.C.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah, we're not sure right now. So yeah, you can see those guys. They mean business up there on the roof.
Yeah,
And that
it's
is
a
their
world.
job.
It's a world we live in,
Yeah.
and I think even for political discourse, high-profile people, they will probably start to move these things indoors. I mean, we knew after the attempt on when he was former President Trump in Butler, there was a lot of discussion about these outdoor events are just too hard to secure.
They are.
Inside, you've got metal detectors, you know who's coming in, you can control the crowd, you can control sight lines, you can control all of that.
Right.
But outside, really difficult, and if you're not a president or a vice president, rooftops are not going to be swept.
Yeah, no, they aren't. And you know, the Turning Point security team for Charlie Kirk, they kind of talked about what they normally encounter, and what they deal with typically are people heckling him, yelling at him,
Right.
maybe throwing a water bottle on stage when they get riled up. So that's kind of what they are prepped for. So mentally, his security team is dealing with, okay, we got a heckler, maybe we have to watch out for a water bottle that might
Or
be thrown
somebody
his
may be
way,
charging him.
or someone might charge the stage. So we're just going to protect Charlie. They're not thinking about what happened yesterday. That probably didn't even cross
No,
their
and
minds.
even the head of public safety at the university and the police in Orem said we just did not get the job done.
Right.
They were very upfront about it. They realized that, you know, and again, with that limited staff, very hard to protect, which is essentially a speaker on your campus.
Right.
You just would not think that they would be the target of an assassin's bullet.
Yeah, and it's a small school with a small police force, right?
That's right.
In Orem, it's a small town.
Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, is back home in Phoenix, his home, and there will be a funeral. We don't know date certain. The president has said he would attend, so we can expect a presidential visit within the next week or 10 days.